The average driver wastes over $1,000 a year just on gas they didn't need to burn. You're probably doing it right now, every time you get behind the wheel, without even knowing. You're driving a car, not an ATM that dispenses cash into your fuel tank for no reason. Today, I'm going to show you 12 simple driving tricks, not complicated mechanical stuff, just how you use your feet and your eyes. That will cut your car's fuel consumption by a staggering 20%. This isn't just about saving money. It's about making your car last longer, drive smoother, and actually getting more out of the machine you already own. Let's jump straight into trick number 1. The problem: fuel is flying out the window. We all feel it. The price of gas is what it is. We can't control that. But what we can control is how much of it our car drinks and how fast. The truth is, most of us were taught to drive by people who never worried about fuel economy, or maybe we just picked up bad habits over time. That stop-and-go driving, that heavy foot, that right there is the black hole sucking your gas and your money straight out of your wallet. Your car's engine is built to work smoothly and steadily. When you force it to constantly switch between massive effort and zero effort, you're making it work inefficiently, and it gulps fuel every time you ask for a big burst of speed. We're talking about a significant percentage of fuel that is wasted purely because of aggressive, sudden movements. If you can learn to speak your car's language, the language of smooth, gentle input, you can unlock that 20% savings. And the best part, these are free tricks. They don't cost you a dime, just a slight change in how you think about driving. Trick number 1, the feather foot accelerator, smooth acceleration. This is the foundation of all fuel-efficient driving, and it's about treating your gas pedal like it has an egg sitting underneath it. You don't want to crush the egg. When you slam the gas pedal down, you're telling the engine, "I need maximum power right now." The car's computer responds by dumping a large amount of fuel into the engine cylinders to meet that demand for quick, explosive power. This is great for passing someone quickly on the highway, but terrible for saving gas. Here's how to do it right. When the light turns green, don't take off like a race car. Gently, slowly press the pedal. Aim to take about 5 to 7 seconds to get up to your desired cruising speed. Think of it as a smooth, continuous increase in pressure, not a sudden stomp. The physics: when you accelerate smoothly, your car stays in a lower RPM range. That's revolutions per minute. Sudden acceleration forces the transmission to delay upshifting, keeping the engine revving high, which means it is literally sucking in more fuel and air just to make a lot of noise and a quick jump. By easing into it, you allow the car to shift up into the next gear faster, letting the engine relax and cruise efficiently. This one trick alone can account for 5% to 10% of your total savings, especially in city driving where you accelerate and brake constantly. It feels counterintuitive at first, like you're being slow, but you're actually just being smart. You'll often find that you catch up to the same people who raced away from the light 2 blocks later at the next stop sign, but they just wasted a lot of gas to get there slightly quicker. Once you start going much faster than that, say above 65 miles per hour, 105 kilometers per hour, the fuel savings start to drop dramatically. Why? The enemy here is air resistance, aerodynamics. Air resistance doesn't increase linearly, it increases exponentially. If you double your speed, the drag force, the air pushing back against your car, doesn't just double, it more than quadruples. Your engine has to fight 4 times as hard just to maintain that higher speed. The science: think of your car pushing a wall of concrete. At 50 miles per hour, the wall is soft clay. At 80 miles per hour, the wall is actual concrete. You burn a disproportionately huge amount of gas battling the wind at high speeds. If you usually cruise at 75 miles per hour on the highway and drop that down to 65 miles per hour, you might add 5 minutes to your hour-long drive, but you will easily save 10% on the fuel you burn on that trip. Learn your local speed limits and try to stick to them. Your foot naturally makes tiny adjustments that waste fuel, whereas cruise control keeps it perfectly locked in, minimizing these wasteful micro-adjustments. This consistent speed minimizes the exponential increase in drag, keeping the engine working at its most comfortable, lowest effort point. Trick number 3, the coast to stop game, anticipation. Most drivers wait until they are right on top of a red light or a stopping car before they slam on the brakes. What did you do with all the energy you just burned gas to create? You literally converted it into useless heat and brake dust. That is money you burned and then instantly threw away. The fuel saver knows when they can stop accelerating. As soon as you see a red light far in the distance, or you see traffic slowing down a quarter mile ahead, take your foot completely off the gas pedal. The technique. This is called coasting. Modern cars are smart. When you lift your foot off the gas while the car is in gear, not in neutral, the computer often cuts the fuel supply to the engine entirely. Yes, you read that right. Your car is using zero fuel while the wheels keep turning the engine over. You are literally getting a free ride by using the car's momentum. Start doing this far earlier than you think you should. By coasting, you let the car gradually slow down, and then you only need a gentle tap on the brakes at the very end to stop. This habit of anticipating the road ahead and reacting early is one of the most powerful changes you can make to your driving style. When you apply the brakes gently and gradually, you are essentially extending the duration of your zero fuel coasting period. This is a classic debate, and there's a definitive answer based on speed. Running the air conditioner, AC, requires the engine to work harder to turn the AC compressor, and this burns more gas than the extra drag from open windows. Above 45 miles per hour, 70 kilometers per hour, roll up the windows and use the AC sparingly. Once you hit highway speeds, the air resistance caused by open windows acts like a parachute, dramatically increasing drag, as discussed in trick number 2. At this point, the slight increase in fuel use from the AC is less costly than the massive increase in drag from fighting the wind. The key is to avoid using the AC on its maximum setting all the time. If it's really hot, run the AC on high to cool the cabin down quickly, and then switch it to a lower fan setting or just the vent mode to maintain the temperature without demanding maximum power from the compressor constantly. The AIC system puts a direct mechanical load on the engine, so minimizing its use, especially when starting from a stop or during acceleration, is a very smart way to conserve fuel. The less you ask the engine to do besides turning the wheels, the better your fuel economy will be. Even better, if you can tolerate it, use the fan without turning on the AC compressor button. Just circulating air is free, cooling it costs fuel. This is the single easiest mechanical check you can do, and it is neglected by almost everyone. Your tires are the only thing connecting your car to the road, and they need to be inflated to the specific number printed on the sticker inside your driver's side door jamb, not the number printed on the side of the tire itself. When your tires are underinflated, they flatten out slightly, and this increases the rolling resistance. The contact patch between the tire and the road gets bigger, meaning the engine has to work harder to roll the tire forward. It's like trying to ride a bicycle with flat tires. It's just harder work for your legs and harder work for your engine. If your tires are 10 psi low, which is extremely common, you're wasting 3% of your fuel immediately. This doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up over a year. The best part, air is free at most gas stations. Get yourself a good, reliable tire pressure gauge and check your tires at least once a month, especially when the temperature changes significantly. Cold weather causes the pressure to drop, so winter is a crucial time for checking. Remember, the pressure needs to be checked when the tires are cold, meaning you haven't driven the car for at least 3 hours, or you've driven less than a mile. Driving heats the air inside the tires, which falsely raises the reading, leading you to underinflate them. Checking them cold ensures you hit the manufacturer's precise recommendation for optimal performance and efficiency. Think of your trunk or back seat. What's in there right now? Probably a gym bag you forgot, 3 emergency blankets, a collection of old water bottles, and maybe some tools you used 6 months ago. Every 100 pounds, about 45 kilograms, of extra weight your car carries reduces your fuel economy by about 1% to 2%. Your engine has to move that weight, accelerate it from a stop, and carry it up every hill. Why are you paying gas money to haul around stuff you don't need? Get rid of everything that isn't essential for the drive: spare tire, jack, emergency kit, etc. This is particularly important for smaller, lighter cars. In a small car, 100 pounds is a much higher percentage of the car's total weight, making the fuel penalty much more noticeable. By shedding that unnecessary load, you instantly make your car lighter, requiring less power from the engine to achieve and maintain speed, which translates directly to less fuel being consumed over the course of a week's driving. If you have a roof rack, a cargo box, or even bike mounts that you are not actively using, take them off. This goes back to the concept of air resistance, but magnified. Anything placed on the roof of your car completely ruins the aerodynamics that the car manufacturer spent millions of dollars designing. That box or rack creates massive drag, turbulence, and noise, forcing the engine to work much harder to push the car through the air. Driving with an empty cargo box on the roof can reduce your fuel economy by anywhere from 5% to 25%, especially at highway speeds. The turbulent airflow caused by these external attachments creates a low-pressure area behind them, essentially dragging the car backward. The cleaner the silhouette of your car, the less resistance it faces, and the less power the engine needs to maintain speed. This is the advanced version of the coast-to-stop game. It's all about becoming a better, more observant driver who plans ahead. Stop focusing only on the bumper of the car in front of you. Look down the street, past the car in front, and look at the traffic lights, the brake lights of cars much further away, and pedestrian movements. If you see a light turn red a quarter mile ahead, you know you're going to stop. Why accelerate now, only to burn that speed off? By looking ahead, you can start coasting and decelerating slowly and smoothly, letting your momentum do the work rather than your brakes. If you can time it perfectly so that you never have to come to a complete stop, instead, you just roll through an intersection after the light changes back to green. That is the ultimate fuel-saving move. Getting a car moving from a dead stop is where the most gas is burned. Avoiding that complete stop saves a huge amount of fuel because you retain your kinetic energy. This habit also reduces stress and makes you a much safer driver by always knowing what's coming. This strategic, far-sighted driving style allows you to maintain a more consistent speed profile, minimizing the wasteful energy cycles of acceleration and harsh braking. Many people believe that turning off the engine and restarting it uses more fuel than just letting it idle for a short time. This used to be true for older cars with carburetors, but it is not true for any modern car built in the last 20 years. The rule: if you are going to be stopped for more than 60 seconds, like waiting for a long train, waiting for someone to get out of a bank, or sitting at a construction stop, turn the engine off. An idling engine is getting 0 miles per gallon. It's sitting there, burning fuel for no forward movement. Even though it's not a lot of gas per minute, if you spend just 10 minutes a day idling in traffic or waiting, that adds up to over an hour of wasted fuel every week. Starting your modern, fuel-injected engine uses only a tiny squirt of fuel, far less than 1 minute of idling. Stop-start technology in newer cars proves this point. The manufacturers built this feature specifically because turning off the engine at a stoplight saves fuel. If your car doesn't have the automatic feature, make it a manual habit. However, a small disclaimer: don't constantly turn it off and on if you're only stopping for 5 or 10 seconds, as that will strain your starter motor unnecessarily. But for anything over a minute, hit that power button. The brief moment of fuel injection required to restart the engine is incredibly short, measured in milliseconds, and the amount of fuel used is minimal when compared to the continuous consumption of an engine idling for over 60 seconds. Your navigation app, like Google Maps or Waze, is great for finding the fastest route, but often the fastest route is not the most fuel-efficient route. The most fuel-efficient route is the one that allows for the most consistent speed with the fewest stops and the fewest steep hills. Stop-and-go traffic is the single greatest killer of fuel economy. Taking a slightly longer route that has fewer traffic lights and allows you to cruise steadily at 45 miles per hour is almost always better for your gas tank than the shortcut through a congested downtown area with a stop sign every 100 feet. Driving up a steep hill requires a massive burst of power and fuel. If you can take a slightly flatter route, even if it adds a minute or two to the distance, your car will thank you. The fuel you burn climbing a big hill is rarely recovered on the downhill side, as you often have to brake to control your speed. Your engine is an air pump. If your air filter is clogged with dirt, dust, and bugs, it's like trying to run a marathon while breathing through a pillow. Your engine is suffocated and has to work harder. A dirty filter can reduce your gas mileage by up to 10% because the engine's computer is trying to compensate for the lack of air by injecting more fuel. Spark plugs create the tiny spark that ignites the air-fuel mixture in the cylinders. If they are old, worn out, or fouled, the ignition is weak and incomplete. This is called a misfire, and it means you are literally pushing raw, unburnt gasoline out of your tailpipe. New spark plugs ensure a clean, strong, and complete burn, maximizing the energy you get from every drop of gas. Where you park your car actually affects your fuel economy, especially during the summer. When you park your car out in the blazing sun all day, the temperature inside the cabin, the engine bay, and the fuel system all skyrocket. When you get in and start the car, you are immediately forced to run the AC on maximum power for a long time just to cool the cabin down to a livable temperature. The hotter the fuel and the engine components are, the harder the car has to work to manage that heat. Parking in a garage, in the shade of a tree, or in a covered spot keeps the car significantly cooler. Furthermore, keeping the engine and its fluids cooler reduces the chances of premature wear and tear. If you don't have a garage, a simple reflective sunshade for the windshield can make a huge difference in reducing the initial heat load, meaning your AC only has to work half as hard when you start driving. This small habit reduces the initial fuel spike required to power the AC compressor and allows you to use the less fuel-intensive fan or lower settings much sooner in your journey. So, we've gone through 12 specific changes you can make, most of which involve nothing more than a change in your behavior behind the wheel. We talked about smoothing out your starts and stops with the feather foot and coasting, making smart choices between the AC and the windows, removing the junk you don't need, and the critical importance of a simple tire pressure check. If you only pick 3 or 4 of these tricks, let's say you start checking your tires religiously, you learn to coast more often, and you stop being a lead foot on the highway, you are easily going to hit that 20% mark. This isn't theoretical math. These are real-world, tested methods that literally translate to miles per gallon gains. Think about that for a second. If you spend $200 a month on gas, you're about to save $40 a month. That's a new video game, a couple of dinners out, or maybe just some extra cash for that car part you've been eyeing. The savings are real, and the side effects are a smoother, safer, and less stressful driving experience. The power of this list is in the cumulative effect. Each small change stacks on top of the others to create a massive drop in your overall fuel consumption. I know it can feel strange at first to drive differently, to leave more space between you and the car ahead, and to coast for what feels like a long time before a light. But I promise you, within a week, this becomes your new normal. You will find yourself driving more calmly, and your gas gauge will start dropping noticeably slower than it did before. You're not just saving money. You're being a more respectful owner of your machine and a smarter driver on the road. Start with the easiest ones first. Check your tire pressure and empty your trunk, and then focus on mastering the feather foot technique. If you want to see how to actually perform a quick and easy at-home check on your air filter and spark plugs, click the video on the screen now. Subscribe for more simple car tips.